Americans are grappling with the economy facing rising prices and a slowdown in hiring, fueled in part by President Trump's tariffs on imported goods. Economists expected the U.S. to add 75,000 net new jobs in August, which would have been alarmingly low. Instead, only 22,000 materialized, and the unemployment rate rose to 4.3%. That was a slight jump from July. But Black Americans have seen their jobless rate jump even faster. At 7.5%, they currently face the highest unemployment rate of any racial group, higher than the white population at 3.7%, higher than Asians at 3.6%. Both groups have jobless rates, by the way, which are below the overall population unemployment rate of 4.3%. But if you dig deeper, the sharpest spike even there is happening among Black women. Take a look at this graph. In February, when President Trump was settling down into the White House again, there were more than 10.5 million Black women working in the labor force. But according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 306,000 have lost their jobs since then, stripping around $37 billion from the U.S. economy, according to the gender economist Katika Roy. Many economists point to Trump's massive cuts to the federal workforce as the driving factor. This is interesting. Black women alone make up over 12% of federal employees. That's nearly double their share of the labor force overall. And that's not by accident. For decades, Black women have pursued public sector jobs as a pathway to the middle class. Government jobs often come with civil service protections against discrimination and pay inequity, which is critical because Black women still face the largest wage gap in America even today. But those protections are evaporating. Many of the agencies that Donald Trump targeted in his budget cuts are agencies where Black women make up a larger share of the staff. For example, the Department of Education, 28% of employees were Black women. The department staff was cut by nearly 46%. By contrast, agencies with largely white staff, like the Department of Energy and Justice, saw cuts of just 13% and 1%, respectively, according to government data. But even Black women who work in the private sector are being targeted. They make up a large share of the country's diversity, equity, and inclusion officers. And as more companies bow to political pressure to roll back DEI initiatives, these women are being pushed out of the workforce.
This is exactly why they're being pushed out. I'll be real with you guys. DEI is the top reason why most so-called Black women are being pushed out or laid off from their jobs. Yeah. Yep, DEI. See, this video might piss off some people, but you were probably hired because of your skin color, your so-called race, your gender. You probably were not hired because you were talented enough. You were probably hired because of those reasons. Right here, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it sounds like you were not really qualified for the job in the first place. But this program, DEI, got you in. So now when that program is over, most places like Walmart, Target are now, they're not supporting this program, DEI. Well, there goes your job. There goes your job. You got in because of this program.
As well. Here's the thing. Even if you're not a Black woman, all of this should alarm you. Economic policy expert Jessica Fulton explains that a sharp jump in Black women's joblessness may foreshadow an impending slowdown for other groups, too. She says Black women, quote, show up as a canary in the coal mine, giving a picture of what may happen to everyone else later, end quote. Katika Roy goes further.
False. Listen, if you are good at your job, you're good. I get job offers every week. I work in IT. I get job offers maybe not job offers, but opportunities, I'll say, right? Either it's from a recruiter, a hiring manager, or some kind of CEO of a business looking to not offer me a job, but the opportunity to apply and to see if I'm qualified for it. But I get opportunities all the time. So I disagree. I think if you have the skills, if you have the talent, I think you're fine. And for those who are the opposite, if you're getting hired because of your race or skin color or gender or sex or all that, once those programs are gone, there goes your job.
They're calling these cuts a strategic failure with long-term consequences that robs the country of leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurial capacity. Because when over 300,000 people from one particular demographic drop out of the workforce in a matter of months, that's not one community's problem. It's a structural problem for the U.S. economy. Joining me now, Derek Hamilton. He's the chief economist at the AFL-CIO, the nation's largest labor federation. Hamilton is also a professor of economics and urban policy at the New School. I'm also here with the Democratic Congresswoman from Wisconsin, Gwen Moore. Gwen Moore is she serves on the House Ways and Means Committee.
She's so pretty.
She has a unique experience in this. Her father was a union factory worker.
Beautiful
Her mother
woman.
was a public school teacher. They're both great friends of the show. Welcome to both of you. Congresswoman, thank you. Let me start with you because you and I have had this discussion before. And you can go back to sort of the end of slavery all the way through the Great Migration. There were protections in the public service that did not yet exist in the private sector, which attracted a lot of black women and black people into these jobs. So when these kinds of cuts happen, they're going to hit black people and black women disproportionately.
Listen, I am certainly in the amen corner. I mean, your setup was perfect, Velshi, and I'm really glad that you lifted up the part that black people, and especially black women, sought employment in the federal government because, quite frankly, the federal government was first to make efforts to integrate and diversify its workforce. Not only did people get good pay or decent, fair pay, but they got benefits like pension.
See, like I said, man, if you hire people because they're good at the job, hire people because they have the talent, they have the skills, they seem to be basically, they meet the qualifications to have this job, right? They qualify for it. The whole diversity thing is so stupid to me. It really is. Just including everyone because you want to just make things fair is stupid. It doesn't work. As you can see, I bet a lot of these people who are hired because of this program, DEI, were not that talented and they did not qualify for that job in the first place. But because it makes them look better, the company looks better if they, add different so-called race or genders into their, jobs. By hiring, they just look like they're including everyone in this more diversity. Hire because the person is good at the job. Leave out their skin color, leave out their race, leave out their sex, their gender. This is dumb.
Benefits.
No.
Nope. And so that's why black women are disproportionately represented in the workforce. I'm also glad that you raised the point that Donald Trump, in his effort to destroy DEI, deliberately targeted agencies like USAID, where 40% of its workforce is a minority, where the Department of Education, certainly 28% of its workforce are black people, and then targeting like the labor and statistics position, or Dr. Hayden from the Library of Congress, deliberately targeting, using the algorithms, anyone who went to a diversity, equity, and inclusion training, or anybody who's black. And the result of that is that since February, from February to July, 319,000 black women have lost their jobs, largely due to the federal purges, whereas white men employment has increased, and even Hispanic employment has increased. So when you look at the pitiful job numbers that you just raised, it's because black women sustained a huge blow. And as you mentioned, that impact will ripple throughout the economy.
Listen, my wife and I run a small business. We would never hire someone because of their skin color, race, or gender, or sex. We hire because you meet the qualifications, you have the talent, you have the skill set to perform the job. I could give a damn about where you come from. I don't give a damn what is your nationality. It doesn't matter to me. It just doesn't matter. This DEI program was dumb in the beginning, in the first place. It's a terrible program. It just included a bunch of people who are not confident, who are not qualified for these jobs in the first place. That's the truth. That is the truth.
Derek, it is known worldwide that if women are employed, families do better. In America, after the end of slavery, what ended up happening is a lot of people ended up as sharecroppers. So you didn't make any money. For 20, 30, 40 years, you weren't enslaved, but you still came out with less money at the end of the year than you started. In addition to what the Congresswoman says about benefits and protections, civil service jobs were a ladder opportunity for black people, right? It was a job, and many people had children who then took jobs in those in the civil service. This was a way to try and make up for the decades in which black people could earn zero money. We haven't solved that problem. The wealth gap between white and black people is still massive.
Yeah, I mean, bureaucracy isn't all bad. Bureaucracy has rules and gets rid of discretion like discrimination. So I think the message that we're getting from the Congresswoman as well as Jessica Fulton and your phrasing around this being structural is that we see this and it's horrendous. It's a shame that we have such high unemployment rates for black women and black people in general, black men, relative to everybody else, but the implications not only on them, but for our society writ large, the canaries in the coal mine, we can expect that this could be ominous for what we can expect to come going forward. And then the other big point is you can't separate black men and women so neatly from a larger family context.
Right.
So this leads to, more strains on caregiving, more strains on households in general to be able to thrive and survive.
I disagree. See, to me, this is a loser mindset. Them bringing up slavery. We are in 2025, right? We are in 2025. There is opportunity. I mean, there is a plethora of opportunity in this day and age. This is an era where anybody could become rich in terms of being wealthy, right? Having a lot of money. It does require some work. It won't be easy, but it's very possible. This is how I view the world. This is what's going on. We have enough tools in place to do well and to build and to become very successful. And this is available. These tools are available. And to hear these people talk about slavery, it's still keeping people back. It is comical to me. It is comical that slavery, as if you were even there, is what's keeping you back. No, it's you. It's most definitely you. And this DEI program is something that ruined people because it included you when you were not supposed to be there in the first place. You were never good. You were never that talented enough. You did not qualify for that job in government. It was not supposed to be for you, but because they want to include everyone and look like they're just good people by including different so-called race of people. This is stupid. And I'm not buying it.
So it's not,
I'm not buying
it's not just that black women are losing jobs.
I'm not buying
They're
it.
losing access to health care. They're losing access to
You were never supposed to be there in the first place.
having contributions made.
How the hell if you're the most educated, right? If so-called black women are the most educated, how are you getting laid off? How are you in debt? How are you in so much debt? If you're so educated, and I'm not trying to bash anybody, but we have to take accountability, man, for our actions and decisions, right? No one told you to take out loans in college and, take out all these massive loans and then hope to pay them back and, decide to be this independent woman and you don't need a man. This is what you ask for. This is what you ask for right here, literally.
Toward their 529 or to their retirement accounts. They're losing money toward buoying their Social Security in the end. And that, the point that you made earlier, and it's true, that when you give women money, you're helping the whole family.
Yep.
That's anywhere in the world.
This is a loser program, DEI. The fact is this: you want equality. You want to be equal as a man. Basically, you want to work in these jobs. This is what you asked for too. This is what you asked for, literally. This is what you asked for. Women want to be equal. Well, this is it right here. This is it right here.
So this structural inequality among
But they played you because this DEI program was never a good program from the beginning. You thought it was something, amazing. And then when this new, administration comes in and make these changes, how come if you're so qualified, why can't you find another better paying job? If you're so talented, why is it hard for you to just dust your stuff off and find something else better? Again, I get people calling me or contacting me every week for job opportunities, excuse me. Every week. If I lose this job right now, I can find another one. Easy.
Black women will eventually create a huge deterioration in the entire economy as they don't consume as much. They don't get SNAP, formerly called food stamps, to be able to expend that. And I mean, this contagion, I believe, will spill out throughout the entire economy. It's not just a job.
Let's extend this, Derek. Let's put aside even the benefits of SNAP or
read this comment right here. DEI does not mean unqualified people get hired. Yes, it does. It means all people must be considered and hired without prejudice. It means fairness and no. It means unqualified people are getting these jobs. No. BS. I just told you DEI means unqualified people are working these jobs. That's the truth. That is the truth. Most of these women were never qualified in the first place. That's the freaking truth. It's pretty sad that our government actually had a department of DEI. I agree. These numbers show why DEI is needed.
Medicare, Medicaid, things like that. Let's just talk about black women as consumers and taxpayers in society, right? If we are, our goal as a society is to what we call full employment, right? Get everybody who's capable of working and willing to work to be able to work. When you start to disentangle people from the workforce, it costs us all. So 300,000 unemployed black women is not just 300,000 unemployed black households' problem. We're all somehow suffering for this.
That's right. So aggregate demand suffers when we have parts of our economy suffer in terms of wages, income, and employment. And then another big point, Ali, is the fact that these jobs are productive. What the jobs create and what they do for the American public. This is our public infrastructure. You led with the Department of Education.
Right.
I mean, the Department of Education, we want a well-educated society that can go out and produce. So that also is a big point that we should pay attention to, the fact that we are dismantling our public infrastructure. And then here's the other point, for authoritative purposes. So that a person can have greater control to enrich whatever whim they may have, not for our benefit, but for the particular benefit of this administration.
I want to just put that, the unemployment rate for black women back up on the screen. Derek, the unemployment rate for black women was 5.4% in January, still much higher than the rate.
So here's the truth about what he just said about the Department of Education. You're being taxed, and your money's going towards these departments that are irrelevant and are not doing us any justice. The public school system is trash. Kids are not learning anything. They could barely read and spell, yet you're paying for this department. What is it doing but just pumping out illiterate children, basically? Yet you're still paying for this. It's not the government's job to basically not take care of children, but I just think that's more of the state's job in terms of education, not the government, right? It's not working. I mean, again, kids are not learning anything. So this department is irrelevant. If the kids are not learning, what's the point of me being taxed to keep this thing going? And that means the jobs of these people working in that department needs to go too. It's not relevant. I mean, it's almost like they're just sitting there all day not doing anything but getting paid for it. Literally.
rate for all Americans. It's jumped to 6.7%.
I don't
now, if
agree
you're
with
not
it.
into statistics or economics, that doesn't look like that big a deal. That's a huge deal.
That is a huge deal. I mean, in a relatively short period of time, that increase is not only big for black women, and you know, we got to point out that the black male rate is 7.1% as well. But in addition to the fact that we just had this huge increase, the point that Jessica Fulton made, canary in the coal mine, this is what we can expect to happen for the rest of the economy. The same adage, black people are the first fired, last hired, is indicative of what might come for the rest of us. So what we need is strong collective bargaining. What we need is solidarity. We need to recognize that when you go after black women, that chink in solidarity is indicative not just of class interests, but an interest of an inclusion of all people so that we can better fight for wages for all of us. This won't just affect black women. It's going to spill over to the whole economy.
How some of it's working.
I doubt it.
I am seeing responses from Americans in these protests, in these town halls, that the American voter, the American public, we just released a new poll this morning, they think this is wrong and they're prepared to fight. They want to make sure that Congress is with them in that fight.
Thank you for lifting that up, because we spend so much time commiserating over where we are. But I'm old enough to remember how we have won in the past. It's with this coalition building, and Donald Trump has deliberately taken a chainsaw, to use their terms, to employment for black and people, and particularly black women.
Like I said, man, the Department of Education is obsolete. Kids are not learning anything. They're being pushed out of these schools, not learning anything. They can barely read and write, spell, you name it. They're so illiterate, it's not even funny. Yet I'm being taxed to keep this program or this department going, and the money is going toward these employees that are not doing anything, literally. So why am I being taxed for it? That's what they're not talking about. The kids are not even learning anything. Public schools are so bad. I mean, they are trash right now. It's an old system. It doesn't work, but yet I'm still being taxed to keep this thing going. It's ridiculous. DEI is a joke. It just doesn't work. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Be back with more. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my website, juicytech.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on IG and TikTok. Feel free to reach out to me on those platforms. Everything is in the box below to reach out to me on those platforms. All the links are there, and you're all set. I'm out. Much love. Thanks for watching. Peace out.